So, you know that they said that Donald Trump was going to wreck America economically and that countries who are our friends would turn their backs on us. Well, the exact opposite happened. And right now, Joe Biden is in control with his neocon warmongers, imperialists, and the rest of the world are forming economic alliances against us. This is exactly what they said Trump was going to do. This is what's happening with them. Russia says China will start paying for gas in rubles and yuan. That's horrible for us because it wrecks our petrodollar, which takes away our economy. China's Xi calls for oil trade in yuan at Gulf Summit in Riyadh. China and Brazil have reached a deal to trade in their own currencies, ditching the U.S. dollar as an intermediate. So you know how this works. The United States dollar is the reserve currency of the world because we have an agreement with Saudi Arabia, and that's the petrodollar. Saudi Arabia was never going to ever sell oil. And if they did, they would only if they only sold oil in American dollars. So if you were China and you wanted to buy Saudi Arabian oil, you had to first go convert your currency to American dollars, and then you'd buy it in dollars. And that's what. So every country does that. So now every country just trades with each other with U.S. dollars because of that petrodollar. But because Joe Biden is such a warmongering asshole, Saudi Arabia is now turning their back on the petrodollar, and they're starting to sell it in different denominations. And now other countries are starting to ditch the United States dollar as their reserve currency, and it's not good for our economy. That would be the worst thing. Then we couldn't be money printers. And then we couldn't have 1,000 military bases around the world like we do. Just in, the president of Kenya urges African nations to dump the U.S. dollar. Right. So we already showed you that South America is doing that. They're going to get their own currency. And now here's Africa. Watch this.
Traders from Djibouti selling to Kenya, or traders from Kenya selling to Djibouti, have to look for US dollars.
Why?
How is US dollars part of the trade between Djibouti and Kenya? Why?
So he's saying if Djibouti and Kenya want to trade whatever goods and services, they have to go find U.S. dollars to do that.
Why?
And because they're the U.S., that's the reserve currency of the world. That's what people use to trade. And he's saying, why do we do that? So he's saying, let's stop doing that.
And we are saying that today, Afri-Exim Bank have given us a mechanism where traders in our continent can trade in their goods and services, and the Africa Exim Bank.
So he's saying the Africa Exim Bank is giving them the ability to do this now. They don't have to use U.S. dollars to trade with each other.
Will settle payments in local currency.
So they've set up a system to do this. So that's over.
That is why Kenya champions the Pan-African payment and settlement system that is done by our own institution, the Afri-Exim Bank. Why, members? Why is it necessary for us to buy things from Djibouti and pay in dollars? Why? There is no reason. And we are not against the US dollar. We just want to trade much more freely. Let us pay in US dollars what we are buying from the US. But what we are buying from Djibouti, let's use local currency.
Very popular. That's a very popular idea in Africa.
Somebody's cruising for a Gaddafi.
That's what I was just about to say. Gaddafi had that same idea, and you saw what they did to Libya and Gaddafi. They killed him, and they turned this country into a failed state with open slave markets. It was the most successful country in all of Africa, and then they wrecked it. Who did? The United States and Britain and France.
The carrot and the stick. First,
that's right.
We shove a carrot in your ass. If you don't like it, we'll use a stick.
And so there it is. So now that's again, it's South America. Now BRICS is joining together. That's Russia. That's South Africa. That's Brazil. That's China, India. They're all coming together in economic alliances against the United States. And people are done with our hegemony. People are, and the reason, and that's why the United States can do sanctions to all these countries all around is because if you use because the world uses the United States dollar as their reserve currency to trade with each other, and that's why our sanctions are effective. But as soon as countries stop doing that, our sanctions are over. Okay. Americans' empire is coming to an end, ladies and gentlemen. Get out while you can. Hey, come see us live on tour. We'll be in Bakersfield, Baltimore, San Francisco, Huntington Beach, Rosemont, and Chicago, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, New York City, Pottstown, Pennsylvania, Stamford, Connecticut, and more.
Hey,
Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.